Hello, folks. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and tonight we're going to be looking at the Australian UFO encounter. We're going to be looking at that one, another great UFO encounter. But first, let me go off and show off some artwork from my own upcoming graphic novel, Scumdogs. Okay, here we go. Here is my extreme 90s cover. This cover I did to harken back to the comic books of the 90s. It looks pretty good, don't you think? Looks very good. This book, the name of my graphic novel is Scumdogs. It's a parody book of the cartoons we all know and love. Cartoons we used to watch. Now, the Scumdogs themselves, they're supervillains out to take over the world. See, they used to be competing in sporting events known as the Scumdog Sports, sporting events held with superhuman monsters as the pro athletes. See, they're called scum and dogs because they traded their humanity for superpowers, or rather superhuman forms. Well, superhuman monstrous forms to compete in these sporting events. So they're not exactly the nicest guys because, well, they're not human anymore and they wanted money. You get it. The classic idea of wanting money so much you turn into a monster for it. Well, this is the idea for it. But what happens when these guys get banned from sports? They decide to take over the world. Now, my two main characters are Death Mug and Buick Starpoon. Death Mug is the leader of the Scumdogs. He's a supervillain out to take over the world. He's an arrogant dictator with a huge ego. He's the purple guy with the metal mask over here, while his arch enemy Buick Starpoon, is the guy with the pink pompadour hair. Now, Death Mug has aspects of various villains you see from villains from 80s cartoons. He's got if you know anything about, like G.I. Joe, the villains of G.I. Joe, the leaders of Cobra, like Cobra Commander, he's got a metal mask. Like Serpentor, he's got gold on him. And he's also purple, like the Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. While his arch enemy, Buick Starpoon, the guy with the pink pompadour hair, he's basically a G.I. Joe parody. In fact, all of his team are G.I. Joe parodies. Which means they each have a military specialty. And if you notice the uniform he's wearing, everyone on this cover with a similar uniform to Buick Starpoon is part of his team in the Space Forces. And he's also a parody of the space hero, or rather space opera hero kind of character, like Zap Brannigan or Captain Kirk from Star Trek, Buzz Lightyear or Buck Rogers, those kinds of heroes. And Buick Starpoon's specialty is that he's a commander in the Space Forces. Now, the other members of his team are over here. This guy with the mohawk is Roadhog. His military specialty is that he's an army guy. Before he joined up with Buick Starpoon, he was part of the army. Well, he's an army guy. Then we have this bald guy with a gun down here whose name is Beach Pounder. His military specialty is he's a Marine, just another Marine. While this guy back here in the red uniform driving that vehicle and stuff like that, his name is Blast Tank. His military specialty is that he's a heavy vehicle specialist, a tanker. Now, this cover is one of 3 different variant covers you'll be able to back when Indiegogo goes live, so you have that to look forward to. All right, let's see. Also, please go, please, when my Indiegogo is up on Indiegogo, go and back it. You'll enjoy this book. All right. As well as please go hit that like button for me. It really helps me fight the algorithm so more people can see my videos. As well as please hit that bell and hit the part of the bell that gives you all future notifications for my videos. And please go and share this video on social media. Share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook. Here we have Miss Breasty Mellon. She's another member of the Wild Rangers. That's the name of Buick Starpoon's team in the Space Forces. He leads his forces against the Scumdogs and saves the universe, but he's also a highly destructive idiot. In fact, his whole team they destroy stuff. Now, basically, her superiors in the Space Forces put Girl Friday on the Wild Rangers as Buick Starpoon's second in command to basically babysit all of them, or babysit him. And she hates her job because she's basically just a babysitter now, and she hates what she's doing. So come read about her in my graphic novel. Here we have Death Mug's henchmen. We have Death Mug's henchmen over here. The blue guy, the pink guy down here is Sloppy, and the blue guy with the top hat is Murmouth. These are my idiots. See, they're a parody of every henchman from an 80s cartoon, which means they're total morons and they can't do anything right, but they're going to be fun to watch when they blow stuff up. Here we have Hair Metal Doctor. Hair Metal Doctor is a parody of Dr. Mindbender from G.I. Joe, a mad scientist. But my mad scientist has been crossed over with a hair metal musician because I think that's awesome. He thinks of all the machines the scumdogs use to try and take over the universe, but he does it while rocking out. That's Hair Metal Doctor. And here we have Miss Breasty Mullins. Miss Breasty Mullins is a parody of the Baroness from G.I. Joe, but unlike the Baroness, she's a party girl who only became a villain for fun. Come read about her in my graphic novel as well. Now, the Hair Metal Doctor pinup and the Miss Breasty Mullins pinup will be included with other pinups in my graphic novel when you go back it on Indiegogo. It's still coming, folks, it's not up on Indiegogo yet, but I'm working on it. And by the way, hit that like button for me because it helps me fit the algorithm. Hit that bell and hit the part of the bell that gives you all future notifications. And please go share this video on social media. Also, I will also try to get these pinups out to you on T-shirts from Crypto Fashion as soon as I'm able to do it and stuff. Now we looked at this. Now we're going to be looking at another famous UFO encounter, the Australian UFO encounter, where kids at a school also encountered aliens. We'll be looking at that. So feel free to hit that like button for me and stuff like that. I am live streaming, all right? Let me do something over here real quick. YouTube. Let me do this. Just a moment. I just want to make sure I'm still streaming. So, do this. Here we are. Making sure about that. There. Now, we're going to be looking at the Australian UFO encounter. We'll get right off to this. The year was 1966, and the children of Westall High School, in Melbourne, Australia, were going about their daily business and out playing in the schoolyard. There was nothing at all that marked this as anything other than an ordinary day until something very strange appeared in the sky above them. Feel free to leave me a few chats, will you, folks? I want to hear from you guys. And from the distance was a grayish saucer-shaped craft with a slight purple hue, also described as a round-humped object with a flat base, which then came in low over the high school's southwest corner to disappear behind a nearby stand of trees, beyond which was a paddock, an overgrown field of wilderness area called the Grange. After a few moments, it then popped over the trees again and moved off into the distance with some witnesses claiming it was then pursued by what appeared to be several military aircraft, and the entire bizarre scene played out in front of over 300 students and teachers. This would go on to become one of the most intriguing mass UFO reports in Australian history. It still has many questions. Yeah, it still has many questions. Oddly, at the time not much was reported in the incident, despite the sheer number of witnesses. It was mentioned in only a few brief articles, then known journal, it was mentioned in the Age, the then known journal, which, all right, an Australian newspapers, which wrote it off as a weather balloon, and that was that. There were UFO researchers and journalists who tried to get more information, but strangely most of the witnesses were uncooperative and reluctant to talk about it. Some outright refusing to meet with interviewers, and turned out that all of the teachers and students had been told not to speak of the incident to anyone. On top of this, school authorities apparently invested denied access to the witnesses in the first place, and it seemed as if there was a drive to sort of brush it off under the carpet. However, over the years, more and more of the people who saw the strange sight began to open up about it. Here's the smart for it. Look at that. As more witnesses came forward, a clearer picture began to emerge about what happened. It would be discovered that some witnesses had actually seen more than one of the objects, and that it seemed as if the military craft had been chasing and trying to engage them, although there could be found no records of any aircraft scheduled to be there, either commercial or militarily. It was also found that the UFO had left a mark in the ground, which appeared as a circle of yellow grass. There was a swirly pattern that some witnesses had been seen official-looking men in blue uniforms inspecting this mark. One of the most interesting pieces of the puzzle uncovered was during an interview with one of the witnesses at the time, a science teacher from Westfield School by the name of Andrew Greenwood. A recorded interview with a UFO researcher, Dr. James E. McDonald. James, Greenwood would divulge a good amount of information. What was seen that day, McDonald would describe what Greenwood would have told him. Greenwood told him that the UFO. Let me see over there. We're looking at the Greenwood. Well, no, we're looking at the Bristol High School. Oh, Bianca Zombie. Dude, yes, Bianca Zombie. Feel free to leave me a few more chats. We're talking about yet another famous UFO encounter. Feel free to leave me chats. We're talking about the Australian school encounter. Like the last few days, we've been talking about famous encounters with the strange phenomenon. So let's get into this article. We'll be looking at different articles and stories about this. So let's have some fun. The UFO was brought into his attention by a hysterical child who ran into his classroom and told him that there's a flying saucer outside. The guy here says on the recording fact that this child had been deranged or something, so he didn't take any notice of what. But when the child insisted that the object was in the sky, he decided to go out and have a look for himself. He called it the most amazing flying he had ever seen in his life. The planes were doing everything possible to approach the object, and he said how they all avoided a collision. He will never know. Every time they got too close to the object, they would slowly accelerate, then rapidly accelerate, then move away from them and stop. Then they would take off after it again, and the same thing would happen. Ooh, this is interesting. Greenwood would explain that the whole spectacle had lasted around 20 minutes, and shortly after the headmaster had warned the faculty and students not to talk about it, what they had seen with anyone, even going so far as to threaten to fire or expel anyone who did. Some even spoke to some sort of military-looking figures looking about. According to him, this was enough to get many of the witnesses to shut up about it all. It is one of the main reasons why the whole story just sort of fell off the media's radar, only really being unearthed until years later. Yet, even now, decades later, the witnesses have stuck at their stories and insist what they saw, leading us to try to figure out what could have happened. Here's another picture of what they saw, drew and stuff. Apparently, look at that thing. I mean, it's just a picture, but ooh, that is interesting. That is cool. One idea is that it was just as the original article stated, merely a weather balloon, or perhaps a high-altitude balloon used to test for radiation in the atmosphere. With one of these apparently in the area around the time of the incident, one notion is that it was a sort of practice target used by the military called a drug, which would have been a nylon, a tube-shaped object towed by one plane for other aircraft to chase and engage. That doesn't sound like what they saw at all. This certainly seems plausible, but a major detail of the report is that the main craft descended to land in the field before taking off. Again, and furthermore, there are no records of any sort of military aerial activities in the area at the time. There's also the theory that this might have been some sort of experimental aircraft, but the air mystery has never really been solved, despite several documentaries into it, such as the 20-66 Suburban UFO Mystery. Your Suburban, huh? Did this one day one can still see information or in the school commemorating the event. Commemorating it, huh? At the school I can't believe I'm doing that again. I got it right that time. Jeez. The school commemorating the event, although it seems to be just as obscure a case as ever. What did these people what did these people actually encounter that day, huh, folks? I mean, it was weird. They saw this, and then the military basically told them to shut up about it. They told them not to talk to any investigators. Basically, no one. They did this to both the teachers and the children who saw this. And they even threatened them. So was this the work of the men in black, possibly? I mean, they were in blue uniforms, apparently. So And they even, as I heard about it, they basically, the military came in, basically scooped up the part of the land where the alien aircraft actually landed. The land was basically radioactive or something, but basically for a few weeks they just dug up the land and basically took everything that was affected by it and just hauled it off and then replaced it with fresh earth or something like that. Or just basically left a hole. Probably just left a bunch of dirt, new saplings and trees there to cover it up. Okay, that's really weird as well. Let's see. What did these people see that day, and what exactly were they so reluctant to talk about? Did the military have some hand in trying to cover this up? There are not. There are not many answers, and remains a very curious massive UFO sighting that has been left out there. This is only one story and stuff. Let's get the other ones. Other UFO. Oh, yeah. Let me go over here. Let me do this. Let's go. UFO. I think I'll bring that up. Let me just get that. Oops. Bad gateway. Yeah. And a mistake there. Stay with me, folks. I have a few other stuff up here. Let me get this. I already looked at this. UFO. Yeah, it's this. We're still your phone camera. We're still skeptoid. We're still on interview details. UFO signs. Shocking details. We're still encounter. Slaptham.com. Signing encounter. Still UFO. I can look at the slapped ham thing there. Let me go back over here. I'm sure I think it would work fine. Do this. Yeah, do this again. Sorry. Damn, doesn't appear to be working all that well. School, bizarre science. Maybe I just put Bristol in here. Let's see if I can get more information up here to come for it. All right. Damn. Install the UFO counter. Sorry, let me do that. Let me get that information there. UFOresearch.com. Let's see if we can get more information on this up here and stuff. One of the greatest. Let me go do this over here. Get this over here. Yeah. One of the greatest, witnessed UFO sightings ever recorded happened on April 6, 1966 in Victoria, Australia, around 1 o'clock a.m. in the afternoon at what was then Bristol High School, now called Bristol Secondary School or something, whatever. Secondary. The site had around 200 witnesses ranging from headmasters of science teachers to regular students. On that day in question, things were usual at West Hall. Some children were playing sports out in the schoolyard, as others studying, and it was clear out, and almost out of nowhere, what was described as a large silver-colored saucer-shaped disc about the size of 2 or 3 cars come hovering over the school and moved towards the wooded area, and then proceeded to land. Here's artwork and stuff, as we said before. The children of the school were, of course, mesmerized. Let me do this real quick. Yeah, just make sure. Teachers on duty. So, the teachers as well on duty. Is where the teachers on duty, or maybe, yeah. So they jumped the fence towards the wooded area where the UFO had disappeared behind as the teachers told them to return. According to one witness, one of the girls made it over to where the UFO had landed while it was still there, and was found unconscious and had to be taken away in an ambulance. According to the same witnesses, she never returned to school after that day. Before most of the witnesses could reach where the UFO had landed, it rose up and took off at what they all said was incredible speeds, at which time the witness said that they saw 5 other objects, most likely military planes, chasing the object, where the grayish saucer-shaped UFO had landed. The grass was flattened in a circle. This was actually a saucer, not just a UFO, folks, not just anything. This was a classic saucer, a flying saucer these people saw. Yeah, the realized that what they saw was very weird. By the way, folks, hit that like button for me because, well, it'll help me fight the algorithm so more people can see my videos, as well as please go share this video on social media. So there's that to consider as well. So that's very weird. Let me try this for a moment here before we get back to what we were doing. Before we go further, maybe I should go over here and show you some Indiegogos real quick. Let's see. Cyberfrog, the action figures have made 204,281 with 29 days left. That's great. That is very great. You can back these action figures. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. You can back these action figures for, well, $40. Well, most of the, yeah, except one of them $70. That's pretty good. All of the main ones Cyberfrog here you can get for $40. The Vespid one is the $75 one and stuff. That's pretty good. $75 for that Vespid thing. That's a good price. It looks like a good toy. It's bigger than the others. It looks very great. Modern Cyberfrog looks awesome. It's done well. 90s Cyberfrog looks great as well. Heather Swan looks very good. Each of those are $40. There's no trailer, though. Let's see. We've been on a nice winning streak with all Caps Comics campaigns lately. The success of our comics are disputed with Cyberfrog Blood Honey, Cyberfrog 2 Recline, and Cyberfrog What's and All crowdfunding comics records. Yeah, basically doing that. If you haven't read them yet, you can purchase them all at All Caps Comics merch at eBay store. Our customers of our comics love you. Yeah, it feels like a good time to take a great big step together. Been working on a line of high quality action figures for the last year, and we were ready to go to production. Well, we're ready to go to production, and I can get your support. These action figures that I got cooking are fantastic. They're competitive with everything you might find on store shelves right now. They're 1/12 scale like Hasbro's well. Marvel Legends toys that are highly detailed, beautiful painted, and are super articulated with your articulated. You can go back these because they look good. Modern Cyberfrog action figures. Looks good. Look at this. Let's see. Modern stretch goals. At 400,000 will be funded. Let's make these 450,000. Let's add a nice honeycomb stand display articulated arm for your frog. At 400,000, let's give your frog a total of 3 sets of hands. At 600,000, let's give your frog an extra swap out head. That's great. Look at that. At 700,000, let's give your frog a nasty beast stone swap out head. Ouch. Anyone have Anyone have anyone have anything to help him? Anyone have a Band-Aid? Anyone have anything for that guy, huh? At 800,000, yeah, let's give get more stuff. 97 Frog action figure. Looks good as well. We go down here. Here's the Vespid toy down here. A little further down. Here's the that's surprising. Oh, here's the Vespid toy. Vespid action figure. Oh, look at that. Bigger than the others. Gigantic thing. Look at that. Vespid's articulation. All right. The stretch goals are basically the same, but every time this whole campaign gets and reaches a stretch goal, all the action figures will receive more stuff with it. Look at that. And all caps Heather Swan. Here's this Heather Swan action figure. It looks awesome. Let's jump this like this. Variant edition of all caps Heather Swan. Backers who purchase either 7 Frogway 1 set or for 2 complete set or 2 complete sets of 4 toys will unlock the exclusive variant Heather Swan action figure option at checkout. You'll be able to add on your variant Heather Swan for an additional money. Not bad. Okay. You can get that as well. All of it looks good. So you get all of that. You can back all of them at once, and it'll cost you some money. But hey, these action figures look good. Now let's get back to the high school. Yeah, let's get back to this high school thing over here. Huh? Ooh, Dustin. Hello, Dustin. Tonight we're looking at the Australian school UFO encounter. So we're having some fun looking at talking about what happened here, how these people saw this UFO and stuff like that, how they were told by the military, and basically what happened that day they encountered this UFO. Right now we're talking about what's happening here. According to one witness, the girls made it over to where the UFO landed, while it was still there, and before most witnesses could reach where the UFO landed, it rose up and took off at what they all said was incredible speeds, at which point the witnesses said they saw 5 other objects, most likely military planes. Well, going after it. Where the gray saucer-shaped UFO had landed, the grass was flattened in a circle, although no one really knows if it completely landed, and after 20 minutes ordeal, it was gone. The children were all told to go back to school. Go back, I'm glowing because it's my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Dustin, and welcome to celebrate your birthday with the Scumdogs Kennel. And as I said, we're having some fun looking at this other famous UFO encounter. So feel free to check in, leave some chats, and I'll talk with your ideas about this. The children were all told to go back to school and head to their respective classes while the police showed up, and this is where it gets a little odd. The police came and talked to a few of the adult witnesses, and then the headmaster of the school called in a scheduled assembly to discuss what happened and tell the students what they saw. It was not an extraterrestrial craft, but something man-made, such as a weather balloon, and told them not to repeat what they had seen that day to anyone. At the same time, the other teachers of the school reported that the two men in dark blue suits had come and talked to them about what they saw. They were also told not to discuss what they saw that day, especially to the press. One of the teachers who had grabbed her camera and snapped dozens of pictures of such objects said that when she was taking aside the men's suits, they took her camera and said it was not their property. She also said the men were from the Australian Security Intelligence. A teen science teacher at the school, Andrew Greenwood, was later visited by officers at his home who threatened him to not discuss anybody he witnessed under the Official Secrets Act. If he did, they would have him fired and discredit him by releasing rumors of him being an alcoholic, which he wasn't. The press from the event was minimal, but the newspapers covered the story and interviewed as many people as would come forward, which ended up as a front-page story. They also looked into the witness accounts of airplanes chasing after the UFO. According to the commercial and military records, there were no planes in the area at the time, even though well over 100 people had seen them. Some newspapers talking about them. Here's what they look like. Ooh, look at that, CIA reveals classified. Channel 9 also ran a report on the incident when the UFO investigators. Oh, here's some more artwork for what the kids saw. Look at that, when the UFO investigators later went looking for the tape that included many different witness accounts, they said that it had been permanently removed from their archives, and even though that particular TV station keeps all of their old stories forever. Dustin, slow down. Sorry, I'm just getting a bit hyped here. Sorry. I can go over this information again if I'm going too fast. I already looked at another article basically covering some of this stuff, but here we're learning more information about what happened. As I heard before, the teachers and students were, the teachers were threatened by the military, and guys in dark blue suits to basically not talk about this. Dark blue suits sounds like me, doesn't it, folks? Going around and basically telling these guys, don't talk to anyone, don't talk to anybody about what you saw. You did not see anything. It was a weather balloon that happened to basically outfly a bunch of military jets. Yeah, of course. Of course. Those weather balloons that are capable of flying a jet plane, right? I mean, those weird balloons able to do such things, huh? See what? I read another article talking about this earlier and stuff like that. And I went off some of this information, but I thought it was rather limited, so I'm looking at more information on the Australian UFO encounter here. And as I said, it's all very interesting. And here we have the military threatening the teachers at the school to not talk to anyone about it. Guys in dark and blue suits. They sound like Men in Black to me. I mean, yes, they were wearing blue. It was dark blue, though. So, yeah. This happened in 1966 in Australia at a school and stuff. And the UFOs landed. And, another thing that is interesting is that when the UFOs landed, you see some artwork here and stuff like that. Well, what happened afterwards is that basically the military basically went to where the UFOs landed. They saw that the ground had basically become yellow. Then they basically, for the next week, dug at the ground and basically hauled all the dirt away, and then covered it with new dirt, or at least trees and stuff, talking about this stuff. Making it look like it was just ordinary ground and stuff. So there's that to consider as well. Let me go to UFO Insight here and maybe get some more information. Oh, whoops, wrong thing here. That was an accident, sorry. All right. UFO Insight. I was going to look at this. UFO Insight. Let me get this up here. Something appears to be wrong with this site, apparently, or something like that. Yeah, great, of course. Bad gateway, of course. For some odd reason, I can't get the UFO Insight talking about this. Here, I'm talking about more information about the Bristol sighting encounter. 50-year-old UFO sightings emerges again. Yeah. Here's another article we can talk about here. Yeah, get this up here. Let me do this. Let me go over here. As I said before, we're looking at the Bristol UFO encounter. And this looks very interesting. Feel free to leave me some more chats. 50-year-old Bristol mystery. A teacher who claimed to see UFOs hovering over Melbourne says military officials threatened to have him fired if he ever spoke about the incident. Andrew Greenwood talked publicly about the famous Bristol heist 55 years ago for the first time in tonight's 7 News story and stuff. Here's the artwork again. The teacher who claimed to see UFOs hover over Melbourne school says military officials threatened to have him fired if he ever spoke about the incident. They were going to basically say he was an alcoholic. Andrew is talking publicly about the famous Bristol high sightings 55 years ago for the first time. Okay, let's go for some more information. Please remember, we all have different opinions. Think before you speak or write something about that is cruel to others. And after all, we are only humans. Wishing your clear skies and wide eyes. Wishing you clear skies and wide eyes to share your experience. Here we have more information about the government telling him not to do so or talk about anyone with the military. They did this. They did this with the faculty at that school. We are any more information here? Come on. Of course. Trying to find some more information on the Australian UFO sighting and stuff. I talk about it quite a bit here. Dustin, Dan caught me. Yeah, Dan. Yeah, that was pretty much what it. Yeah, that's pretty much what. Yeah, that's right, Dustin. But what do you think? The military, after these high school kids saw the UFO, which was flying faster than their military jets, see the UFO these high school students were watching, would sit down and would stop in one area, and the jets would chase after it. Then the UFO would slowly move away from them, and then zip off to another area and stop, and the jets would be forced to basically turn tail and head after it again. They were repeatedly over the school trying to chase this UFO down, this flying saucer. Because what these kids, it wasn't just a UFO; it was a classic. It was a flying saucer they saw, not like anything. It was something you'd see in a science fiction movie. This is what these kids saw that day at that school. That's amazing. An actual yes, a UFO is a perfect description. Yep, but it was actually a flying saucer. Right out of everything you ever know. But a UFO is a perfect description for it. But yeah, this thing would basically slow down or stop the jets going after it, try to engage it, and the thing would just, go slowly away from them and then zip off and then fly to a different area and then stop. And the jets would then circle around trying to chase it again. And this happened for a good while over that school. And the kids were just watching, including the teachers. That was there, right there. That's what they saw. And afterwards, the teachers were told not to talk about it and stuff. Here, let me go back over here. Add some, this was the other article I was looking at Australian high school. To be over 300 students and teachers, this would, over 300 students. Oddly, at the time, not much was reported on the incident either. See, even one of the teachers basically one of the teachers took photos of the UFO. And guess what? The military basically said they now owned her camera and took it away from her. These two guys in dark blue suits, in black, it sounds like to me, basically came and said they wanted her camera and she had to give it to them. They also basically threatened this guy named, as more witnesses came forward, a clearer picture began to emerge. Here's another picture someone drew of what happened. As you see this UFO basically hovering in the air, and he's looking at it. That's what they did there. It was one hell of a great thing. I mean, look at this. Look at these people just staring at it. This isn't actually a real picture. This is actually a real picture describing what they saw. But this basically frightened everybody. Basically made them frighten these kids. And this UFO landed. And I tell you this: afterward, the military came in and basically saw the yellow grass where the UFO had landed. And what they did next was basically for a week, or a week or so, or just a while, they owned that land, and they basically hauled all of the land where the UFO had landed away because it had been turned yellow. They went no evidence left for anyone to look at. Afterwards, they just left scorched earth there. Diller draws, not showing picture. Ooh, not showing picture, huh? What happened? I should be still on stare screen and stuff. Wait, I should stop screen. Oh! Let me go over here. No. Where are you? You should be able to see it. You're not showing it on the screen. Let me show you this then. You should see it. It should be right there. I have my share screen on. See? Look at this. Stop screen. Let me stop that. Go to share screen again. Let me do this again. All right, let's see. Let me get this picture up here. This is someone that someone drew. See, do you see it now? You see it now? Let's see, this is what these people saw here. Look at that thing just flying there. And as I said, basically, a few pictures is what everyone only saw. Let me go back over here. I guess there are other pictures of it. Let me go over here. Here's another one. Nope, just watching your stream. Okay, did you see it? Do you see it now? This is very strange. My share screen should be working. You guys can't. You guys can't. Do you see it yet? I mean, I just stopped my share screen so you guys can see this. That's another very weird. Hey, maybe there may something very weird going on here with my share screen. If I'm not showing you these pictures that someone drew of this UFO here, we see it. So you do it now. There's another picture as well. Let me get that up here if I can find it. Is it this one? Yeah, let me see down here. Here's another picture. See this? These UFOs landing and stuff like that. All right. There's a clearer picture over here, I guess. Either way, there's another one here. This is what people saw because the military came in and basically took all evidence and basically made sure no one could see it. Hey, Dillard, you want to join the stream? We can do that for a few minutes if you want. I can send you a link. And stuff. This is if you're wondering what we're talking about, this is the Australian high school encounter, high school UFO encounter. It happened back in 1966 at a high school and stuff. But as you see here, look at this. This is one creepy looking picture. Okay, let me go over to invite. Do this. And let's go over here. Go to Dillard Draws and leave you a link. And I'll go back over here. Not much information on this article, sadly, but this guy did talk about it. A teacher who saw over in our Milburn School says he says military officials threatened to have him fired if he spoke about it. That did happen to this guy. They said that if he revealed what he had seen, they were going to basically, spread rumors about him. Hey, Bros.
Hey, how's it going, Chris?
You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I find it very strange that you guys couldn't see my share screen of these photos here.
Yeah, I was just kind of showing your StreamYards, like the backstage StreamYards thing.
That was
kind of. It's kind of like cascading. We're into infinity, over and over again.
I had right here. You should have been able to see it. I had this right there. That's very weird that should happen while I'm talking about UFOs.
Yeah, them UFO people, the men in black are covering up your stream.
Well, great. Hey, that's interesting, folks. It does. This stuff seems to happen when everyone talks about UFOs on their streams and stuff.
Right.
Like some problems like this. It's very, very weird as well.
I blame Australians.
Maybe. Yeah, but this happened back in 1966, and this was another high school encounter. Did you know that a girl who actually, in one of the articles, says who basically went over a fence where the UFO had landed, and basically her teacher told her to come back. Basically, the moment. Here's another chat from Dustin. What do you think of the Facebook extremists? I think they're jerks. Well, but they're basically trying to deal with the speech. Here's it. What do you think of that? I think they're jerks with their mean extremes. I think that stuff. I don't know much about it. Is there more trouble with Facebook? As I understand, they're basically trying to make sure no one can basically speak their mind on that chat on Facebook anymore. That's what they've done for the last while, yet. Either way, it's another thing. But either way, look at this artwork this people drew of what they experienced. Look at this. This is horrible. This is amazing right here. What's this? I mean,
so are they saying when they drew this that the birds showed up when this was happening, or the birds were being scared away when this happened?
Basically, everyone was going nuts. People were watching this. Animals were going nutty, and the UFO would land, and a UFO landed. And what happened was the UFO was being chased by military planes, and what would happen is that the UFO would basically stay in one area, and the military jets would chase after it, but then it would slowly move away, then zip away to another area and stop. And the military jets would have to basically turn around and try to chase it back over. And this happened over this school, with everyone watching it. And they kept doing that for a good while. It would basically fly slow. They would fly away and stop at another area. The jets would turn around and basically try to go after it. And then it would do the same thing again, as if it were screwing with the jets, which is what I would do if I had a UFO. Because they tried to shoot it or at least engage it, but they couldn't get close to it to even engage it, and we would just basically mock them by just flying still in the sky. And they said that this was a weather balloon. I don't know of any kind of balloon that can do that.
And who was the person that was claiming, take it easy, this was just a weather balloon?
The military. They told the people that if you were to talk to anyone, this is what you saw: a weather balloon. Never mind everyone going nuts, everything weird going on, the thing landing on the thing. And guess what? One girl who got close to it was basically never returned to high school after that point. She was found unconscious, and they hauled her away to hospital, and she never returned to high school after that.
Did she ever return to civilization?
No one knows. They never saw her again. She was taken away to a hospital and never seen again.
Obviously, she was hysterical.
Well, she was unconscious and taken to a hospital. She was found unconscious because she went over a fence to get close to it, and she basically went unconscious. And then after that, they hauled her off to a hospital, and she was never seen again.
You're probably a loony bin. You know how hysterical women are.
There's also the fact that she'd been maybe touched by UFOs and basically, well, hysterical, yes, but they might be doing something to her if she's. God knows what they're doing to her if she's still alive, what she experienced. This sounds very much like here's another one. LOL. Either way, she might not actually be an ordinary person anymore after her experience. So, yeah, she could be in a loony bin.
Do you think that there can be an experience, like for you, like personally, do you think that there's something that you could experience supernatural, so astounding, that it would change who you are, like the kind of person you are, make you lose your mind?
Yep. I think that can happen. That you can see something that would change you forever. Especially something like this. This is when seeing something extraordinary like this change you.
I've seen some things in my life, but nothing that made me go in. I'm kind of like one of those people that doesn't have a lot of emotion and empathy. And I'm not saying it as a brag, because there have been situations where I'm like, I really wish that I felt a little something so I could be appropriate. You know, like for instance, I have a hard time empathizing with people at funerals because I'm kind of like, I'm tired, I'm upset, I'm a little bit itchy in this suit. I want to just leave. Yeah, I'm sad that your dad died and everything and all that, but I got to go to the car. You know.
Yeah, Justin says we should do some peyote. That might help. That might help as well. Doing some drugs there. Yeah, but I can understand that as well and stuff like that. I do have emotions and I do like that. Then again, do you actually know these guys? Did you actually know were you actually close to any of these people?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing.
There's that too, but then again, I think if they value you, I think they would understand you. This is you being you. But as I said, if you saw something like this might change you forever. If you saw a real monster, something that doesn't fit anything you've ever seen before, or an alien, this might really change you if you saw it.
Yeah, if I saw, let's say I was walking, through the little forest behind my house area, and I saw something that could not be mistaken for anything other than a Bigfoot. So clearly it was a Bigfoot, and I would be like, "Oh shit, wow." And I would probably, I don't know, I would tell my wife. I don't know if I would tell anybody else.
Especially if it was 25 feet tall, and some people say they can get that big. That's a bit insane there. Then people being scared and just making the thing bigger than what it is. But
yeah, I mean, isn't like an elephant like 17 feet tall?
Something like that. Skunk ape.
25 feet tall. My God, that's outrageous.
That's big. That's kite. That's something from a comic book side.
That's a huge foot. That's not a big foot.
Yeah, there's that too. They say that Bigfoots might be giants, actually, or something like that. I can understand that as well. Now, let's see. What else was this? Yeah. Either way, yeah.
But I don't think I would be like, hey, my mind is broken now. Like I'm in an insane asylum because I saw something, outrageous. I don't know.
That can happen, but also a lot of people say that, well, they just can't leave it alone. They want more answers. They want to know what they saw and stuff, so they never leave it alone. And they just basically look into this stuff and try to find more information on what they experience. That's people who basically experience. They do. And this thing is that, since, well, here's another chat. Have you seen the inside of a turtle mouth? A little bit, I think. So
let me go look it up on the internet.
There's that. Right now.
Oh God. Oh.
Huh.
The sea turtle mouth. It says inside the sea turtle mouth looks different than a human's, with spiny projections pointing inwards towards the animal's throat. These papillae line the turtle's esophagus from the opening of their mouth all the way to the stomach. They are made out of the same proteins found in our hair nails. It's keratin, and it looks like the beast from Tatooine. Oh, not Tatooine. What was the planet where Jabba the Hutt was? The Sarlacc pit. Remember the Sarlacc pit?
Oh, I think that's Tatooine. No,
yeah, it might be. But dude, the inside of a turtle's mouth looks like a Sarlacc pit. It's just spikes and needles going all the way down his throat.
Yeah, that sounds horrifying.
It is horrifying. I'm not going to share this image. This is too horrifying to look at.
Yeah. All right. Last time we talked about, I had you on my show, we talked about if the aliens would use us as, like they would in that Avengers movie, as basically throw us against something like that until we, as soldiers and stuff like that. I said that was unlikely to some extent, because I think it could happen, but they need to train us, and they won't just throw us away. It depends on your definition of throw us away. If they train us and basically give us and try to use us as soldiers against other aliens and stuff like that, I can't understand that. But those aliens they used in that movie, they were obviously warriors, or at least animal-like things that can basically, like if they just threw a bunch of lions at something.
Like, have you seen the movie The Future War, the one that just came out?
No, I'm not really too interested in it and stuff.
Well, it's an interesting concept. The concept of the Future War was that they were coming back, the human beings, like right in the middle of a big Super Bowl game, human beings opened up a time portal and a bunch of soldiers walked out and said, we're losing the war in the future. Everybody is dying. All of your grandchildren and children are dying. We need volunteers from this time to replace the soldiers that we're losing in the future. And so they basically take everybody, don't give them any training. This is a gun. This is how you load the gun. This is how you point the gun. This is how you shoot the gun. And there you go. Boom. And they drop them, into the future and do the best you can. If you're still alive after 7 days, we'll bring you back.
Yeah.
And basically, you don't really need to know anything if you're just fodder. If you're not a special, a SEAL team that's going to go in there doing something tactical, we just need bodies with guns that can point in a direction and fire. Why not?
That's what I mean there. But I've thought about the fact that you need enough training to basically know how to use the gun. And it's the thing that they basically, well, they might do that, but also maybe enough training to basically, well, you would like someone to basically live long enough to be useful. Gun fodder like that can be useful. What you're saying is that an alien race would probably also give you enough ability, well, to basically survive longer if they wanted to get anything really out of you. But then again, using you like the way they said could happen as well. And that's one of the things I did. One thing I do agree with you, this they could use this as fodder. But the fact is, if you want to do anything real thing, because what happens if your fodder all dies? You're back where you began.
That's true. But the thing is, if you look at the the Avengers movie, like they had armor. I'm sure that these wild beasts that didn't have a lot of higher brain functions. I'm sure they didn't make their own armor. I'm sure there was just something that was easy to throw on them, kind of like that old movie Hook, where they were just throwing on like bamboo as armor and stuff like that. Dustin wants to know. He wants to know if there's a way to talk to you guys over the phone.
No, sorry about that. Sorry about that, Dustin. But they didn't have armor. They were just naked. They were just a bunch of wild animals with basically pissed off and just flung at the enemy. And that's one of the things. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, especially of a life form like that. You wouldn't just use a tiger, though, because these things could actually, while they had articulated hands and stuff, they could grab stuff. And basically, maybe they had enough brain power that says, go and look for this item, bring it back to us, or die. And kill anything that gets in your way. But they didn't have guns. They didn't really need it. They obviously they were stronger than humans because they did what they did and stuff. So that's one of the things right there to consider as well. But as I said, with cannon fodder, yeah, they could use this as cannon fodder. But if you want anything real, it depends on how many of us they're willing to sacrifice. And as I said, if they still need soldiers and stuff like that, it depends if they want to kill us all and maybe use us, maybe they would do that. But then again, there's a certain amount that you would like to get something more than, because the U.S. Army basically has done that, but they also want to give you enough training to basically survive a battle so they can use you again as well.
Oh, yeah. No, I understand.
Yeah. How was your 4th? My 4th was pretty good. We had ribs.
Ribs. Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, you go on, Dillard.
Oh, I'm just saying, because I'm looking at pictures of, I guess they're called Outriders. These were the monsters that fought the Battle of Wakanda, the ones that were throwing themselves at that shield wall until it was decapitating them and all that. And it does look like they have some sort of biotech armor kind of wrapped around their body. But I don't know. I mean, it could be anything. I don't know. The fact is that humans we're really good at basically, trying to stay alive.
There's that. Yeah, but then again, we're only talking about what we've encountered on this planet. We're real good at that. If you have to deal with anything supernatural, only in real myth stories do you talk about humans ever actually basically triumphing over a real monster. And those are stories we tell ourselves. Because we've got to understand, if these things actually exist, vampires, werewolves, aliens, they might have no interest in actually killing us, maybe because, or something like that. And basically, well, vampires have to live, vampires live on blood. They might want to live off a human continuously. Basically, and maybe if they control minds, they say, give me some of your blood, then you can go and you won't remember any of this. If you go around killing people, someone will notice. But also there's the fact that if you kill everyone, you can't eat anymore.
Right. Like I seen this video on YouTube of this guy being harassed by a fox.
Yeah.
The fox was hungry, obviously. But a fox, and this is a full-grown adult male, out there hiking. Obviously, he's in pretty good shape, And this fox posed no threat whatsoever to this adult male. But the fox was hungry, and it wouldn't leave him alone. It just kept following him. And every time the guy wouldn't look at it, every time he would turn around to just continue walking, the fox would try to take a nip at the back of his leg. Things get desperate. And, you can consider things that here on Earth, just consider them not known, right? Let's say, for instance, a fox was something that wasn't known to us.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be considered a monster or some sort of a cryptid, like the gorilla once was, something that exists only in fantasy. But I don't know. It seems like there are things that we could handle as a species, maybe not a gorilla, but certainly foxes, coyotes, things like that. Small creatures. We have the ability, the brain power to be able to handle these situations. Of course, if we came across some sort of like xenotype alien or gigantic real alien monster, ice giant or something, of course we wouldn't have any ability to deal with that. But maybe on the hierarchy of existing creatures in the universe, we're not bottom of the totem pole,
That is true, because there are animals, regular animals, like you said with that, what you just said. We're above animals like that. But if you actually had to deal with anything with any real power, I'm not sure the creature would actually have. Well, there's nothing we could actually do to one of these supernatural creatures and stuff like that. But there's also a thing that, well, it depends if it's a demon or not. We can basically call God out, and basically these things will back away from if you believe hard enough. That has been proven with what people say about they've encountered aliens in outer space, and they said that, well, we're been abducted, and they called out God's name. The aliens would back away from them. That to whether they are demons or not. Dustin has left a few more chats. A few will with a few words I can't really say if I want this stream to stay monetized, or if it ever gets monetized. But let's see. Dustin says, yeah, with your thing, closer when you don't look. With your story there. Now, Dustin here's, I do have a deal. I do have to deal with cougars because probably where he lives, mountain cougars and stuff like that. There's that.
Mm-hmm.
Mountain lions, I think, right? There's that to consider as well. Yeah, we can handle creatures like that. But as I said, now some of these creatures could be evil, and if they are superhumanly powerful as they seem, they can easily squish us. But that doesn't mean we're completely worthless and stuff in the world. Yes, we aren't completely worthless, but you got to understand, if you actually had to deal with something supernatural, well, you can, if depending on what it is. Maybe if you call God's name, say, get behind me, Satan, stuff like that, or get behind me, devil, demon, get behind me, demon, maybe he'll back off. Or if it's a true supernatural, or if it's like an alien or a cryptid, maybe it has if it's intelligent enough, because they do say Bigfoot are actually as intelligent as humans, and they are more likely to just, not bother with you and basically walk off, because they don't. Because even with the original Patterson Bigfoot tape, the Bigfoot was just walking off because it wanted nothing to do with the humans.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a few more tweets. I do have pretty kitty for sure. Yeah, there's that too. But either way, these aliens basically, it depends on. But there are cases where the aliens do go around like with the alien, basically, who could have been testing the U.S. the military craft here, and basically seeing how fast, and if they could catch up with the ship before it buzzed off and went faster before they could get close to it.
There was a interesting film that came out in the early 2000s, and it was called A Bug's Life.
Yeah.
One of the Disney Pixar movies.
Yep.
And in this movie, a bunch of ants are dealing with a grasshopper threat.
Yeah.
Grasshoppers large enough that they could kill an ant by just stepping on their head. Very big. And one of the grasshoppers was reprimanding one of his soldiers because he's like, what are we going to do? What are they going to do to us? They're just ants. He's like, you're right, And he goes over to the big pile of seeds in this big decanter, and he takes out a seed and he throws it at the guy's chest. And he says, did that hurt? And he says, no. And he picks out another one, throws it again. Says, did that one? He's like, what, are you kidding me? And then he tears off the lid to the decanter, and that wave of seeds just falls and kills that grasshopper. Yeah. And he says, if we let one of them stand up to us, they'll all stand up to us.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, if you have even a 25-foot Bigfoot, right, coming into a group of humans, a town, I'm sure that one-on-one, no human would be able to take care of this Bigfoot at all. Yeah. But after this Bigfoot lays waste to about a couple of hundred of humans, after a while, if it hangs around long enough, the humans are going to kill it.
Yeah, there's that effective weapons and stuff like that. But you have to understand is that a lot of the time I think these creatures have no interest in doing something like that unless we basically pose a threat to them. We can basically, a bunch of humans can kill something like that, but you got to understand is most of the time these creatures have no interest in having any contact with us beyond maybe like the aliens basically saying that we are here and we don't like you using your weapons the way you're using because we don't want to see you exterminate yourselves. But these creatures, I understand your idea is what would probably happen, but that changes the moment we actually become a threat to these things. Because if they actually are as powerful as people say they are, with mystical abilities or be able to teleport or basically travel through universes, they could probably really not exactly kill us, but maybe render our weapons completely useless and or basically not kill us, but I don't know, maybe banish us to a dimension where we can't move or even basically speak, and basically they could do whatever they want with us. Let's say with the alien encounters where they or something like that, they can just render us all unconscious. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that humans aren't useless, but we shouldn't think that these things are threats, or not think that there's no possible way they could be threats either. A lot of time, these creatures basically go their own way, and if we do pose a threat to them, they will defend themselves. But most of the time, these creatures basically, at best, seem to go around screwing with people. That doesn't mean they don't go around killing people either, because if you look at Skinwalker reports, Skinwalker stories, they say these Skinwalkers do kill people to gain their powers. They were humans who basically learned magic and then became shapeshifters.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean there aren't ways humans can basically kill them, because if you do know who a skinwalker is, you could kill him pretty easily. There are ways to do that. At least that's what the stories say. So yeah, humans aren't useless, but a lot of these creatures are basically too smart to basically do something like that. Or basically, if they are as powerful as they say they are, and if they were to decide to do that, there's a good chance we wouldn't be able to kill them, because these things might be so powerful they could just render us unable to defend ourselves, and then they could just do whatever they want. But that doesn't mean we can't kill them either. Especially,
I agree. That's the only thing I think we disagree on, is that I think that they do, even though I think they're smart enough to realize that if they do treat us like ants in an ant farm, that we are dangerous enough to do something.
The one thing we can do is basically ruin the planet. If these things are ultra terrestrials and they live on this planet as well as we do, if we ruin the planet, they'll die too. There's another few chats. Dustin, I just recently did a Teamster job, and you played it out very well. A Teamster's job. I played it out and just did pretty well. Oh, thank you. I'm not quite sure what that means. Dustin, or even get these dang cats, or even these dang cats.
Yeah, that's somebody was telling me the other day, because there was an article that came out on Twitter. Actually, it was posted on a Twitter account called Men Posting Their W's. Men winning.
Yeah.
And it was an article about this guy in Indonesia. He was driving, and everybody over there has like motorcycles.
Yeah.
It's cheaper, and he had his wife and their kid. Like, his wife was sitting behind him on the motorcycle, and in between him and his wife, their little kid. And as they were driving down the road, a leopard came out and attacked them, and the guy had to fight the leopard off. He ended up successfully fighting off the leopard, strangling it, and killing it.
Yeah, I think I've heard there are certain cats you can basically strangle to death, but how you do that is basically you stick your hand and stick it down its throat and choke it to death.
Oh no, he just grabbed it. What they said was he had grabbed the thing's throat through its fur, just grabbed it and just squeezed and squeezed and squeezed until it just stopped moving.
Yeah, I think that could happen, but what I've heard about with leopards and stuff like that, humans can kill them and choke them out. But how you do it is basically you take your hand and stick it down its throat until it suffocates, even though it's trying to bite down on your arm. I think that's what happens with these kinds of creatures. Yeah,
and then every creature has the ability to kind of like size up a situation and do the best that they can do. Like a human would think, oh, I could do this and I could effectively kill it. And a leopard would think, I know these humans, if I jump on them from behind and I get them on the back of their neck, that's the best way for me to kill one of them, Yeah. And they got into a scuffle, and the guy came out on top, and that's fine and all that. But and I don't really think it proves anything. But what I'm saying is, like, we have to remember, like, have you ever had a house cat?
Yeah.
Like, and how agile and how fast. Like, I remember I was sitting watching TV, and my house cat just kind of used me as a launching point to jump onto the curtains. He jumped up on my stomach, did a turn, and then jumped off my stomach to jump onto the curtains. And in the process of doing that, like, cut my stomach up pretty bad with his claws. I was like, you bastard, right? And I could just imagine a cat, like, just like a house cat, but many times heavier. It would be a very, very scary thing to deal with in real life.
There's that too. And that's what I'm trying to say here. It would be that bad because, well, what I just said about it, if you want to fight something like a leopard, it's going to leave quite a few marks on you because how you do it's going to bite down on you, and that's going to leave quite a bit of damage. Another tweet by Justin. Yeah, that's a good. Thank you for that one as well. Let's see. There. Yeah. Humans can basically do damage to some of these creatures. They even said they killed some Bigfoots, but no one's ever been able to find the bodies bodies and stuff, or they've buried it because they said.
Yeah, I don't believe anybody that said they killed a Bigfoot and there's no proof. You have any idea how much of a painstaking process I would go through to make sure I had proof if I ever killed a Bigfoot? My God.
Yeah. It could be the government did steal it away because they want to keep all this mum. And well, if Bigfoot are something like ultra-terrestrials or aliens, or it's something they have contact with aliens, or that because people have said they've seen Bigfoot as well as giant black cats as well as giant black dogs on UFOs. If they're somehow able to basically are in league with the aliens, not that they're demons or something like that, if they're maybe actually Bigfoot are actually an advanced species, and they basically pretend to be primitives and stuff like that, but they actually have this technology, and they're just hiding away from us. But they're actually in contact with aliens. Maybe the government doesn't want to piss off the actual aliens by having their friends get killed or something, or something like that happening.
I certainly would parade it around on television.
There's that too. I know I would do that and stuff to say that these things are real, but the government, if they are friends with aliens or if they're in talks with them, would probably do everything they can and say, "This is ours now. If you talk, we'll shoot you." And that's as if they just don't shoot the guy right off the bat and just burn everything in his house down. Just say there was a gas leak and that this is ours now, and that there was nothing here. Yeah, there's another tweet. Well, I'm trying to keep a mouse, sir. Oh, keep a mouse, huh? Okay. Okay. There's that as well. There's that. The cat, yes. Yeah. Now, there are various stories, stuff like that. You understand I think a lot of these creatures we see and stuff like that, I think they are talking with each other. I think skinwalkers as well as Bigfoot. I think maybe they have a secret society. They are ultra-terrestrials with fairies and stuff like that, and they all basically can talk to each other, and maybe even with aliens. And basically, because they're more advanced than us, and that they're maybe even talking with aliens, the aliens see them as another advanced race, and basically are in talks with them. It would be understandable why these creatures would see would be on UFOs if they're in talks with these creatures, or basically using them as friends and stuff like that.
Oh, you're saying that as if the humans were not the main leaders, I guess, of species on this earth.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Basically, I'm saying is that we're not the most intelligent creatures here. Actually, it's Bigfoot who actually have an intelligent or more advanced and have their own secret society, as well as skinwalkers, as well as other supernatural creatures we have in myth, are actually have been around for centuries. And do you think a vampire who hasn't been around for hundreds of years wouldn't have developed more technology by himself if he's been around, immortal and stuff like that, and basically already invented electricity and even maybe space flight by now, and basically done it by himself or with his own people? And basically, I'm saying is that they live on Earth, and all these creatures could be considered aliens or something like that. But we consider them monsters of myth and stuff. And but in reality, they also look out for each other because they don't want us knowing about them. Because if we did know about them, we would destroy them, even though they are more advanced than us. They could easily conquer us. But they say it's just more easy just to hide away from the humans, keep ourselves nice and safe. And even if they did know about us, there's nothing they could do. But it's just easier that we believe that they're just myths and stuff like that, because it's just they don't have to bother with us at all then. But the thing is, they might be, and this is where the aliens come in. They're in league with the aliens. They're basically trading with them, as we trade with other nations and stuff like that. And it's like that. And basically, if the aliens are basically would probably help creatures like Bigfoot basically disappear, because there's instances where Bigfoot tracks have basically stopped as if something had just. It had just disappeared. And I could believe that a UFO didn't come in, basically taking the Bigfoot, because the Bigfoot had basically messaged the UFO or aliens saying, "I'm being chased by a bunch of humans. Could you guys please lift me up and take me off somewhere else so I don't have to deal with these guys?"
Yeah, they pulled the old Enterprise, one to beam up.
Yep. So you get the idea. The same thing with other creatures of myth, who could either be aliens or maybe actual monsters that we know in myth, but they've been around so long, they've advanced far beyond what we are currently at, and they've basically gone to the way of actually contacting aliens from outer space, and they basically have this thing going on where they basically make sure no supernatural creature, like in Harry Potter, is basically seen and stuff like that. They make everything quiet. They make sure no one actually in the human race knows about these creatures. Even if they're just animals, maybe they have superhuman abilities and stuff like that. They just make sure no one can see the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot, and basically make sure no one knows anything. And the same thing goes with aliens and stuff like that. Maybe the supernatural creatures and aliens, you don't want the humans knowing about you, because we're trading with you. The humans will just basically get in the way and try maybe use any technology you would give them for war and stuff. I mean, that's if they're not already if the aliens or supernatural creatures aren't actually talking with humans anyway, and basically trading with them for technology, hoping that we'd advance to a point where they don't have to worry about us destroying the planet. Which would explain why we see these creatures like Bigfoot or even giant black dogs with Bigfoot, as well as UFOs buzzing various military bases, because they're just basically saying that we are watching you guys and we don't be destroying the planet because we live here too. We are actually in league and in talks with these alien creatures, and they agree as well because we are advanced. We are advanced species who live on this planet that will help us basically survive if you guys end up starting a nuclear war or something like that. That's what them basically people have seen these creatures around military bases. Which is I find very strange why we'd see the same type of creatures around military bases, or even Bigfoot basically hovering over fences, or basically literally hovering over fences. It basically walked up to a fence, basically floated into the air, flew over the fence, and then continued on his way. As well as various UFOs basically buzzing over bases, doing basically stopping over the base, basically flying around and zipping off, saying that there's nothing we can do to stop them. But never actually attacking anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're good or not, and yeah, it is kind of worrisome that these creatures are taking such an interest in us in such a way as to basically just keep spooking us. And here's a few more chats. Dustin, well, I'm trying to keep a mouser. Slow down, bud. Sorry about that. I'm trying to keep up pace. Beam me up, Scotty. If aliens were here, it is not for war. Yeah, I know. It seems like that. But that's the thing. They could use us as basically shock troops that basically for fire and stuff like that. They could do that. I do agree with there. But I'm just saying they have not done anything like that at all. And these things at best basically are just saying, yes, we exist, and there's no way you can possibly stop us. We just don't want you guys to destroy everything. That's what I'm pretty much getting from all of this.
Well, then they need to make some sort of bargain, because if they don't want me destroying everything, I'm going to need I'm going to need a hollow suite.
Yeah, there's that too. And that's why they come out with UFOs. Maybe we are going to basically say these UFOs are real. Maybe they are getting ready for full contact, and that they will basically uplift us. Basically in hopes that they're just going to give everything we need to have a perfect civilization. Basically, they're tired of waiting for us to grow up, and they're just going to force our evolution, give us the technology, and just say, here, be happy. Just don't destroy everything.
Maybe. I still want my holographic simulations.
That's what they're going to do. They'll just say, take this, you'll live happily, have a nice day, and I'm just doing that. Or just saying, now I'm going to go and basically get something to eat, or basically enjoy it, man, enjoy it. Because I don't know what happens after that point. Because I imagine a lot of humans will basically say, I'd ask for a spaceship. And then I'd go into space, and then I'd basically explore. I'd maybe look at what they've done to all the inhabited planets, and basically go to them, as well as basically explore uninhabited space as well. And that's what I would do.
I don't know. There's a lot of places in this world that I want to go visit first.
There's that too. I would do that. But as soon as I get a spaceship, I have to be out there exploring as best as they could. Now, folks, have you hit that like button for me? I'm just going to take a quick look and see if where are you? Where are you? 4 likes, not too bad here. Now, let me get this back up here, what we were doing. Either way, a lot of this stuff is very interesting. I mean, these pictures here. Too bad the military took those photos. So no one could basically look at them anymore. I mean, they just say this, basically, the military came in. Those guys sound an awful lot like Men in Black, saying, we own this camera now. We're taking it. And the lady just said, sure, because they were military intelligence. No, nice. That's if they were military intelligence. They could have been Men in Black from anywhere, or aliens themselves, and stuff like that. She just said they wore dark blue suits, which sounds very suspiciously like what I just said. And they just say, we own this now, and then took it away. God knows what she actually had on that camera roll, what we'd be seeing here.
It was probably a bunch of nudie pics of herself. That's why they kept
it. Probably. Very interesting.
I too am very interested to see those pictures.
I know. Let's see. Yeah, I'm interested too as well. What else can be said? I'm surprised that every government in the planet seems to act exactly the same when it comes to this. They basically scrub all information and basically make sure no one talks about it. Take anything they can get and basically hide it. Does that mean that the U.S. has already been training other governments to do the same thing? I mean, it just seems suspicious that every government seems to basically follow the same procedures when encountering such things. And how do they even know how to handle do that and stuff like that? I mean, every time this actually happened back then or even now, they hide all information. So how does the government in Australia know how to handle information concerning aliens so well? Did the U.S. government already go over there before they didn't tell them how to handle it? I think that's what they did. Because I find it strange that every government basically does exactly the same thing, and they follow the same procedures when dealing with it. I find that very weird. Have you ever noticed that?
You know, I haven't noticed that, to be honest. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, it's like someone trained all these different governments to do the exact same thing. This is how you handle this. You cover everything up. You make sure all information is hidden and basically take it away. And if anyone talks, you make them disappear if you can't handle them. Or if people are like that. It's very strange. I find it seems like they're following the same thing, doing exactly the same thing. But how does every government know how to do that? They had to have training to do that from somewhere.
Yeah, it's almost like a little playbook, huh?
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like I can't trust my own government.
Yeah.
I don't trust my government to have my best interests in mind.
Yeah.
That's very important, I think, and it sucks that I don't, because it would be nice if I had a government that I thought, they're looking out for me. Because I mean, and if it's really hard to think about this in a way, like somebody asked me the other day, they were like, what if there was this cabal, right, that was running the world from behind the scenes? What if there was this cabal, but genuinely, they were made up of genuinely smart people, and they were looking out for our best interests, not theirs. And I had to sit there and I could not wrap my mind around that concept, because I just don't believe that there's a group of people out there looking out for my best interests. It's more unbelievable than nefarious intentions.
I know.
Which sucks, but that's how I feel.
That's why if we get basically annexed into some alien empire, I would be happy with it, only to the point if the aliens were actually benevolent, at least benevolent dictators, or at least they're saying is, we're coming in here, we're annexing your planet, welcome to our empire, but we are good at it. And they'll get rid of every politician that is dirty like this, as long as we actually had someone good and like that, economics, etc. I still hate the idea of basically being annexed by aliens. But when I look at our own government and what they're doing, stuff like that, I know that some of them are inept idiots. Others have various purposes, and all of them are out for themselves. But look at it this way: they are each of these in this cabal. Each of them are out for themselves, no one else. They might say they're all in one, doing all this for one purpose, but each of them is basically looking at each other as rivals, and this is why they will never take over the world. They'll screw up, then they'll end up destroying the world in a nuclear war, which is actually preferable than doing it, because then we'll be living in a post-nuclear war, and we can do whatever we want and stuff like that. But even though it would be horrible, we'll be free at least. Because I don't think they can ever basically control the world, because too many people have basically too much trying to control for themselves, trying to get as much control for themselves, and they would not basically do it for anyone else. So this cabal would just fail and stuff like that.
Yeah.
because I know the Russians won't do anything that America says, no matter what, like that. But I do believe that there could be something like with aliens. They did come to an agreement. We all follow these procedures when dealing with these things, because I do believe, well, these people are horrified at the unknown. They're terrified of all of these creatures and things they just can't control. Here's another tweet. Humanity is easy. Let's get there. Yeah, humanity is easy. Humanity is not really easy. They can't really control humans. They can't control people. And they're worried about people inspiring others. But they can't control anyone. But they can basically force things to go their way, at least to a point. But they can't basically they can't control all of us. So they're scared. They're as scared of us as they are of the unknown. And when it comes to the unknown, they're really horrified because they're worried these things will just step in and just take away their power completely.
Yeah, I would. I don't know. It's so difficult. It's so difficult to imagine, and which is why I enjoy it. But it's so difficult for me to imagine just the reason why they would not make themselves known to humans. Which is, to me, I mean, I guess the most pressing question. Why are they not making their presence known?
Because I think they might have they have an ultimatum. And this goes to the guys who actually control the planet. Listen, we're going to uplift your plant. We're going to make sure this plant stays healthy and nice. And you can't possibly stop us. We're not going to control you, but we are going to uplift you. And there's no way no way any of you guys will possibly be able to stop them. And this is why but this is the timetable. They're not going to do it till they're ready. They are definitely feeling like, because they're basically with UFO disclosure, they are getting ready to that point to do that. They're just basically letting it go like that, letting it stick. And yes, we could, at any point, humans could go nuts and be scared to show us these things. But I don't think if they have the technology, there's anything we could do to stop them, or even if they would want to harm us. But they're just going to come in and basically, if they are benevolent, they're just going to say, we're going to help you, and we're going to uplift your race, look into outer space and stuff like that. That's pretty much where we have right there. And this horrifies the guys actually in power, because there's no way they can possibly stop them. Even if we have some of their technology, there's no way that they don't have even better technology or even more weird abilities than we can possibly understand, or even more we can even effectively use this technology as well as they can. And that pretty much, nor is there any way that because some people say we don't really understand any of this technology. At best, we've been able to fly a few ships, and that's it. Now, this has been a pretty good live stream. I think I'm going to end it around now. I'm going to thank you all for joining me today. Please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You, okay? There is misspelled. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that like button. Let's see, what else? Leave some comments down below. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell. Hit the part of the bell that gives you all future notifications. And share this video out on social media. Share it out on Twitter. Share it out on Facebook. Let's see. Anything else? Go over to Stitch Together Picks. It's a YouTube channel that deserves far more subscribers. Go and subscribe to him. As well over to Creepy Little Book, another YouTube channel. He does little videos and he does live streams talking about high strangeness. He likes the Art Bell radio show. He live streams every night. He live streams on weekdays at 12:30 a.m. and weekends at 10 o'clock p.m. He talks about aliens and ghosts. You'll learn so much, so go and subscribe to him. Also, go and subscribe to my Rumble channel, rumble.com. It's named Comic Freak, as well as go over to bitshoot.com and subscribe to go over to rumble.com and subscribe to me, and go over to bitshoot.com and subscribe to my BitChute channel. It's named Comic Freak. I'll be back again tomorrow at 5 o'clock or maybe 11 o'clock p.m. For another live stream. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me.